Let's start out by taking a look at the various setup options within Beyond Software. You can start out by taking a look at the project policy screen. This screen sets up some of the system-wide settings. You can change the caption of project. Maybe you want to call it a job instead. You can change the task caption. Maybe that's a job or a WBS number or something like that. You can specify whether you want to split up your task IDs into different segments or just have a single segment. You can specify your default task, various assignment and costing options, various restriction options of charging and allowing exclusions. You can set up a couple global defaults for resources. There's an option to have the system auto number new project IDs, otherwise you can specify your own project ID. And you can also hide some fields in time entry. Say you don't really need to see the task description, you can uncheck the checkbox and it'll automatically hide the task description from the end user's point of view, simplifying that time entry screen for them. Next, let's take a look at the project accounts setup screen. The project accounts screen allows you to specify a friendly name for various project-related accounts and then tie that back to a GL account number. In addition to creating a more user-friendly experience by providing a friendly name instead of a GL number, you also get to control what type of account they are, whether it's an expense or revenue. You get to control where on an invoice these amounts would show. You can have labor amounts show differently on an invoice than, say, reimbursable expenses. You can also optionally choose whether or not to require various things, such as whether you want to require a project, whether you want to require a resource, a labor category, whether you want to require units or quantity to be entered against transactions, and whether this account is budgeted. After project accounts, probably want to set up some expense categories. Expense categories help provide a more user-friendly option when entering expense reports. Also get to specify what GL account those expenses go to, and you can optionally specify a standard unit cost. The obvious use case for this is, of course, mileage, which is often expensed at a standardized unit cost. Next, we can take a look at the billing rates. You can set up billing rate tables, as many as you like. I currently have two, one called fixed price and one called time and expense. You can set up as many of these as you like, and the billing rate table does a number of things for you. The first thing it does is defines what accounts are billable. In the example we see here, I have lines set up for project account direct labor and lines set up for account reimbursable expenses. That indicates that amounts booked to those two accounts are billable and should flow over to my invoice. In addition to determining what is billable and what is not, you also specify the rate markup that you want to apply to this. You can specify a unit rate. For example, in labor's scenario, I could specify a rate of $75 per hour, or you can specify a percent markup. In the scenario of reimbursable expenses, maybe I want to mark up my expenses 20% and then bill that through. Here I've specified an amount rate of 1.2. The rates do have effective dates, so you can keep a whole history of your rates as they may change. You can also override rates for specific labor categories, or you can override rates for specific resources right in the screen. Say if a particular resource or a particular labor category demands a different billable rate. These billing rates are later attached to a project on a project-by-project basis, again giving you control to allow one project to behave differently than another project in terms of billing. Once these four screens are set up, this establishes a nice baseline to get you started in setting up your first project and resource.